Alright, champions, for your next piece of artwork, you're going to need a pencil, a Sharpie, a piece of white paper, and some markers, or whatever other kind of coloring things you have. Crayons, colored pencils, whatever you have, that's what we're going to be using today. Make sure to write your name and your class code on the back of your artwork. Whenever you write your name and your class code, that becomes the back, then you flip your paper over. We're going to be using line, shape, and color to create today. We're going to be using Pablo Picasso as our artist inspiration. The first thing you're going to need to draw is a large oval shape on your paper, kind of like the shape of a face. One half of your oval is going to be a face in profile. Profile means you're looking at the side of your face. So I drew my forehead, there's my nose, some lips, and finally the chin. Now the right side of my paper is now in a face in profile. The left side of my paper is going to be in just a face looking straight forward. But first I'm going to draw my facial features. You can reference the worksheet on the Google Sites to show you different types of eyes, ears, nose, and mouth for your facial features. Alright, now you're going to draw your neck and some shoulders for that head to live on. We don't want any floating heads in our Picasso portrait. So just draw a little neck that comes down off the bottom and then your shoulders that come off the sides. You also want to add some hair and ears to your people, however you want to add those hair and ears. They could be on top of the head, on the side of the head, on the face. Picasso, remember, is an abstract cubist, so that means some of the different facial features aren't always exactly where they should be. So just add your ears and your hair wherever you want them to be. Alright guys, the next step is to take your black Sharpie or whatever kind of permanent marker you have and to just trace back over all of your pencil lines. Once you have used that marker to trace over all your pencil lines, take your eraser and erase all of those pencil lines underneath just to make sure you have really good craftsmanship. Now that my Sharpie and pencil lines are all done and taken care of, I'm going to use whatever type of coloring materials I have. I'm going to use these markers, my Crayola markers. Remember when you're coloring, especially with markers, that you want to make sure you're overlapping using the side of your marker, not the tip. You don't color with the tip of the marker, use the side. And make these kind of lines that overlap each other, that go in the same direction. That's going to give your artwork really nice craftsmanship and make it look really neat and really well done. We're not scribbling. You're not just going to make your hand go back and forth to color. You're doing these really deliberate overlapping lines to make sure your artwork looks nice and neat. Alright guys, the last step in completing your artwork is to add some type of treatment to the background. I'm going to use oil pastels and watercolors to add a background. If you don't have oil pastels or watercolor paint, not a problem. You can use crayons, you could use colored pencils, you could use whatever art material you have on hand to add some type of pattern to the background. So with my oil pastels, I'm going to use a bunch of different colors and patterns to add a lot of variety to my background. So I'm going to start by making purple polka dots along the back. I throw in some zigzags, some different shapes and colors, just to make my background interesting and exciting. Alright guys, my last step is to make a watercolor resist and to paint some watercolor over the top of those oil pastels that I used. Make sure your paintbrush always has a good hair day. You're going to need a paintbrush, some water, and your watercolors. Make sure you wake up all of your watercolors as you use them. Add some water to your palette before you can use those colors. So you're just going to swirl on top of the pad on your watercolor and paint on top of whatever pattern you decide. Alright guys, thank you for creating with me. I hope you like your really funky abstract Picasso portrait. I'll see you in the next video.